Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boleyn Lounge. Got my regular co-host Nick Purdy with me. He's on holiday last week. Bit cheeky. But,
Good evening, mate.
Yeah, are you back and refreshed? You there, Mick?
I certainly am, mate. Yeah.
Well refreshed from your holiday, buddy?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
I am indeed. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, lovely.
And also happy to welcome live and in person in the Boleyn Lounge, Eddie. Welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to the chat. Great to be here. Literally sat opposite, more or less, our host Jeff. So yeah, it's great to be actually in the lounge. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely to have you, Budgie. And, welcome to Barry in the chat. Thanks for joining us again, Barry. Good to see you.
Hi, Barry.
Yeah, Barry.
And now all the little introductions are out the way, let's get on with the show. And did you watch the game this weekend, Mick? Did you catch that?
I did. You're very echoey, Jeff. You're getting like feedback on the mic.
Yeah, is that better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So we're both sat in a room here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you watched the game, did you, Mick?
I've got to be honest, Jeff. I did not. I see the highlights Monday morning. Yeah. Yeah. What's there to say, really? You know, it's I'm sure you're going to talk about Moisey going in a little while, but yeah, I think a lot of that's just due down to that, really.
Yeah, well, if you saw the goals, then you saw everything that was wrong with the game. That's all you needed to know.
Well, it's everything that's been wrong with West Ham's defence that we've been speaking about since we started this show.
So yeah, and you watched the game, did you, Budgie?
Yes, I watched the game. Well, for the first 37, 38 minutes of it. And then I got more interested in playing darts in the pub. I was very disappointed with it. I have seen all the goals. Not too impressed with any of our players. And I've got to be honest with you, from what I did see, David Moyes didn't get out of his seat in the second half. Just goes to show you how much interest he had in the game. Very disappointing, but not wholly unexpected, I'm afraid.
No, I agree.
Mm.
Let me just unmute, sorry. Yeah, not a lot we can really say about that. It's pretty shambolic all round. We took another beating. We've been on the back end of a few of those this year. It's not very nice. And, well, the news is broken, and there's a couple of games to go. So it's going to be a new reign coming in at West Ham.
I'd just like to say that, I just rang you on the way home earlier on to say we're still on for tonight, and I quickly said to you, I just hope that with all said and done, that on Saturday that he gets a proper send-off, because he deserves it. Obviously, the last, since the turn of 2024, it's been poor, hasn't it? But I think it's just been poorly managed, the whole thing about, we'll talk at the end of the season, and I think it was inevitable once we went out of Europa League. Tools were down. There's a lot of disgruntled people playing for David Moyes right now. Have come out in the papers and on podcast shows saying we should be doing this and we should be doing that. And James Ward-Prowse has probably been the loudest, and that's why he's not starting. So, yeah, it's disappointing end to his reign, really. He deserved a bit better, but then again, he's responsible for how badly it's been handled as the board are. So just I hope, say, Saturday, that the fans give him a good send-off, because we're in a much better place than when he came in terms of league position, and we won a trophy. And I think the team itself is probably just in a better shape as when he took over the second time in terms of personnel, age, that kind of thing. So yeah, whoever comes, well, Lopetegui looks favourite to come in. He's got a massive rebuilding job to do, to be fair. Yeah, so yeah, I say Saturday, do it properly, West Ham. That's all I'm saying.
See what Barry's saying. He says he does think Moyes needs a good send-off. He's grateful for the trophy in the away days in Europe. We need to go in a different direction and a new style of football.
Absolutely, 100%.
We all want that. It's time, isn't it, for that change? Mm-hmm. Moyes has hit his ceiling. It's kind of wheels come off at the end of it, which is a bit of a shame. But it is what it is, right? And we've got Luton to come on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, they're fighting for their lives. They're still in with a chance. I think maybe a pretty slim one, but they win their last 2 games, they might stay out.
Yeah, they might.
The way we are at the moment, you wouldn't put it past them beating us, would you?
Well, as I said, I think Moisey needs to leave the London Stadium with a win under his belt, so that when the game's over, they can have a proper walk around the pitch and do it properly. So, yeah, I think we need to win on Saturday. From a West Ham point of view, you all know that I've got a very close affection to Luton Town as well. So, yeah, it's a hard one for me, that one particularly. Yeah, my hometown, I would like to see them stay up. But as you say, I think the chances are slim. So.
Yeah, I think their chances of staying up are slim regardless of the result.
Yeah.
London Stadium.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you wouldn't put past scrappy Luton with the way that they've been playing and our leaky defence to not ever get a result against us, would you?
Well, no. So, as I said earlier, our defence is something that needs sorting out.
Just reading Barry's comment there.
Yeah. I'm just reading it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you like Moyes for what he did at Everton. He doesn't love West Ham like Everton. That's why the youth never got a look in, and team started falling apart in the dressing room. I don't know how true that all of that statement is, but actually, I do think that he's probably his first love is Everton.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say there is when he talks about West Ham, and when he the so-called Big Six, when he talks about them, it's like we don't deserve to be up there with them playing. That we're sort of we should be grateful that we're done what we've done. What he's done as a manager, which we are. But he always talks about us as a small club. I always thought that he never, and against Bayer Leverkusen particularly, the way that he set the team up, it's like, well, they're a Champions League side, and we did our best, he doesn't regard West Ham as a big club. I don't think he does.
Well, yeah, there's a hell of a lot of merit in what you just said there, Mick, and I agree with 99% of that. I would add also that he's been influenced in the past by the mainstream media, as in BBC, Sky, and that. He's had his comments and that actually. Is that my computer?
Me, no, it's me.
Oh, it's right. I think he can be quite easily led by the general consensus of opinion in the mainstream medias and stuff. And I think, he's doing his best to keep himself within that kind of vein of, the way he talks about the club and this and that. And, he's convinced as much as they are that West Ham don't deserve to have been in Europe for 3 years. And we should be grateful for, and careful what we wish for and all of that. He probably believes all of that hype, because, you can't blame the man. In some respects, he's not a born and bred Eastender. He's not even English totally. He's Scottish. So, to be fair, it's a job to him. And, you can see he put a lot into this job. But, it would be a very different matter if it was somebody from the area or even from London, somebody that knows and appreciates how big the fan base is, how volatile it can be, and how, like smooth they can be as well. When things are going well for the club, we weren't chanting anybody's name out, It's when it all starts going wrong and he does nothing to change it, and that was a very similar thing to me to what happened with Allardyce. He did nothing to change the poor run of results. He just kept banging out the same 11 or the best 11 that he could muster, with the injuries and stuff. But, he doesn't seem to, there was no dynamicism, no urgency in his management style. And it seems to be that it's very similar with David Moyes, There's no urgency to improve. I will do it one day soon,
Not good enough. West Ham. Yeah, it's kind of a sad day, but it's unfortunate that it's come to this, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of a very important era in West Ham's history. Let's not undermine that, I mean, the first time in our history we've challenged in Europe for 3 years, and during our time in Europe, we had some very good results against some very good teams. We were, at one point, we were the highest, we were the club, the British club with the longest run of unbeaten games in any European competition. That's right, and Man City beaten us and extended that.
Yeah, to 18.
But, I mean, but I think it's even gone even further than that now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they went 18, we were 17, they went 18.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's no mean feat for any club. Chelsea would like to have had a record like that. Arsenal would like to have had that record. I don't know what their unbeaten run in Europe is, but I would imagine it's low teens.
Playing at a slightly higher level than us, though, in fairness.
Of course, yeah. But, I mean, like, it's not the level of the competition, it's the level of the team you face.
Yeah.
And, and we know that teams can come out and bite you, just like Luton can. And I haven't really sort of said much about the Luton game yet, but I do fear that they've got nothing to lose.
Luton? Absolutely nothing, no.
They got nothing to lose, and a wounded lion is no pussycat, in my opinion. So, they already know, but so they've got nothing to lose. Let's go out with all guns blazing. Let's see if we can take a decent scalp with us, because let's face it, to Luton, West Ham are going to be a decent scalp. So I fear that we may just take the game a little bit too lapsadaisical, and then we get caught out, find ourselves 2-0 down at half time. That's my fear, and then not be able to recover from it. Anyway, I'm going to mute and let you talk, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I can see us slipping up against Luton. It doesn't mean that I think that we will. Just really depends if the players want to give Moyes a send-off or not, I think, because it's been a couple of games where they really haven't applied themselves that well. But we know that they can. So if they want to come out, put in a good performance, give Moyes his send-off for his last home game with a win, then they're perfectly capable of doing that. But if they come out half-hearted, Zuma and Ogbonna are static, Luton might just turn us over.
Yeah, the old Bonner thing. Sorry?
I don't know what you think about that.
I was going to say the old Bonner thing. We had spoke about that before we went on holiday. He didn't get a chance, and then you bring him in at the end of the season when he hasn't played football all season, looking musty. He's 38 years of age, so I think Oggy's gone at the end of the season anyway, isn't he?
Well, he should be. They're talking about trying to extend his contract, and I just think that's madness.
Crazy.
I mean, he's clearly not at the level anymore. Not what we need. If you're going to have someone in there that's going to make some mistakes and get caught out, let's just stick one of the young ones in here and get them some proper experience and make them some kind of mistakes.
Well, that's been his problem as well this season. He doesn't he's never trusted. There's one of the lads there put up about Cornet on the chat.
Yeah. I'll put it back up.
He never. Not that one before. Making it up with Cornet. I mean, what's the point of it? Well, I said this, 2, 3, 4 weeks. What's the point of Cornet? You might as well just send him home. Put him on garden leave because he's got no interest in having him there. Same as Ings. I mean, whoever comes in's got a massive job because I only see 6 players probably that are worth keeping. And it looks like Paqueta might go, but I'm not sure he will. You've got Alvarez. I still would keep Mavropanos and Agard and Emerson and the 2 boys up front. And at a push, I'd give Mickey another year if I was going to give someone another extended year. But after that,
it'd be handy to have round the squad and come in as a sub, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's still a powerful unit, isn't he? Yeah.
I'll just say good evening to Colleen and Wazim and Sharky. Thanks for joining us as well. Good to see you.
Yeah, evening all. This Lopetego who's coming in. Done a bit of research on him today. He's he obviously done well at bloody hell at Sevilla. Yeah, and he was at Balaconia or something. I couldn't pronounce it properly. He only had an 18% win rate there, but the interesting one is that he's Wolves' most successful manager in the Premier League with 37.4% win rate, and they were bottom of the league when he took over at Christmas, 5 points behind, and finished above West Ham that season. So he's got something, and he's been a coach at Barcelona, Madrid, as well. So
yeah, he's also had a lot of success, in as much that he's what is it, somewhere in the region of just under 400 games he's managed in his career as a top flight manager. But he was also a scout, a talent scout before he went into management, and he's kind of scouted some decent players, the likes of who was it that was brought into, I can't remember who it was now, but there was a couple of really decent names that he'd scouted, and brought to certain clubs, and so he's got an eye for talent, but he also, he's been saying a lot of the right things, he likes to use the youth, he likes to give them an opportunity to prove themselves. He likes to have options in starting lineups and stuff. And he plays a 4-4-3 for goodness sakes. I mean, that's the most attacking lineup that we've played in the 4 or 5 years that Moyes has been with us. He's only ever played it a handful of times, and it works. It has worked at the time. So I'm quite looking forward to him coming in and changing things around slightly, just to get the best out of the players that he has got available to him. And like I said, he does like to use the youth. So, we may very well require 10 or 11 players in like the window this season. Obviously he's going to pick a handful of them out of the youth ranks, hopefully, the ones that deserve it, and I just like the stuff he's been saying. I like what I've seen about him. Yes, okay, right, a lot of people are going to say it's defensive football, it's negative football, but I haven't really sort of seen that in his stuff. I mean, he was with Sevilla, for God's sake.
He wasn't with Sevilla.
No, I mean, they're serial winners of the bloody Europa League, God's sakes. Was he managing? He wasn't the manager there when we beat them, was he?
No.
2 seasons ago.
No.
Like, he started their trend of winning that competition. 3-4 times in a row they won it, didn't they?
Hugo Henry won it 2 or 3 times with them, didn't he?
Possibly, yeah. But, I don't see this as a negative appointment. I don't see it as a very far, it's not a big leap forward, but it's not a step back, which we've been prone to do in the past. It's not really a sideways step either. It is an improvement in David Moyes, I think, because new broom sweeps clean. That's how I'm looking at it. And I just hope that he can, develop a style and approach to the games that the buyers all buy into and implement to the best of their ability. You can't ask for no more from a manager. Not my first choice, but not my last either.
No, look.
On mute.
You can only give him a chance. I'm reading Barry's thing there about Creswell, Ings, Soufal. The trouble with Ings, Soucek and Soufal is they're still under contract. Now, I watched the overlap with Les Ferdinand there a few weeks ago. He was talking about QPR, and he said the hardest thing to do when you're trying to rebuild a club is get players that are on big contracts, yeah? Ings is on a massive contract. Soucek signed a new one this season. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to offload them for the fees that we'll be looking for. So it'll almost be giving them away. I don't see how they would fit into this new manager style of play either. So the difficulty is
Soufal's contract expires in June if we don't trigger the extension.
This June, is it? So that leaves Soucek and Ings, yeah? Yeah. Is there anyone else there? What's Oggy? Not Oggy. I know he's gone this season. What about Zuma? Does anyone know what contract he's got left?
June 25.
So he's got another year.
Yeah.
You'd almost be better off paying him up and saying goodbye, really. Yeah, it's just it's all a bit flat tonight, but it's all kind of season's fizzled out, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the new manager will be what he'll be, but I just feel it's a massive job. That's exactly it, Wazim. A massive building job. Yeah.
Yeah, Wazim's here saying, he says, whoever comes in has a major rebuilding job, obviously what we're just talking about. The summer transfer window will be exciting, he's hoping. And, I mean, that's the other side of it. Could actually be an exciting time for West Ham, right?
Well,
we've got so much negativity around David Moyes that, like, our default position is doom and gloom at the minute.
Yeah, but then where's the money, Jeff? Where's the money? I mean, Moyes has spent a lot of money in his time in the last couple of years. Yeah.
They've got the money.
Huh? Well, it doesn't matter if you've got the money. It's being about to spend it as clubs are finding out. Like, when Newcastle can't buy players. Yeah,
but they've got the budget to spend. They're in a good place in the PSR things.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they get, for example, if we sell Paqueta.
Yeah, but that's
really
a backward step, isn't it? It's a backward step selling.
Okay, but if you get the money for Paqueta and he wants to go, that goes into the funds and have quite a war chest, because though they might have spent some of the Rice money, it goes on to this year's accounting. So on paper terms, in accounting terms, we're in a good place for PSR. I'm not saying we're going to have limitless spending, but we will have a good ceiling to spend money if they choose to do so.
What are you saying, Budgie?
I actually was going to say the same as Jeff's last point, that it's my belief that Declan Rice money comes into the club, like the club's financial statement this year, which already gives us £105 ceiling minimum anyway. Plus the money that they've allotted anyway for the window, plus any money from sales that we make. There's a good chance that we're going to offload Ben Rama for about 15 million. We're going to offload probably Fornals for probably somewhere in the region of 14 to 18 million.
I thought he was sold already, no?
No. They're both on loan.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Fornals has already gone. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Fornals has already gone. But Kera's another one. That's right. Yeah, with Monaco.
Yeah.
And with Kera we could probably get up to about 22, anywhere up to. But I don't think we get much more than that for him. So you're probably looking at like maybe 45 million coming in, as well as what they've already got put aside for the window. And then obviously they've got this £105 million nest egg coming in from the Declan Rice money. On paper.
How does a German international like Kehrer not get a game under Moyes when you see the shambles of that defence we've had this year?
Exactly. And, why would he be the choice of player to loan out your defenders?
Yeah.
That kind of baffled me. And for me, him working alongside Mavropanos actually is quite tasty sounding, I think the pace they both got. I know Kehrer is, in his international team, he's a right back, but I think he should be a right centre back, because I think he's got the pace to get up and down to play a higher line, which I believe Lopetegui likes to do. So, I think he would be kind of an instrumental player in our defence if we can keep hold of him.
And Nagar, when you're talking about pace.
Yeah, Agard as well. He's got that pace and everything as well. And he's not a bad defender. Yes, he's made one or two mistakes, but you name me a defender in any club anywhere in the world that don't make mistakes.
You're defending for 75% of the game. You're going to make more mistakes than teams that don't.
Of course you are. And, you'll find that, even players like the great Dick Van Dyke, Virgil van Dijk. Even great players like him, they're kind of like sometimes, like Mikel Antonio ran circles around him the other week.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he was at fault for one or two of our breakthroughs because he just wasn't quick enough to react, or he wasn't in like a tight enough marking position or something. Even he, and they state that he's probably one of the best defenders in the Premier League. Even he makes mistakes that cause and can result in goals.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Go on, Jeff.
Just reading Barry's comment here. He says he'd like to keep Paqueta, see how he plays under a new manager, and City have to sell before they buy because of FFP. That's quite an interesting point, though, because even if they do want to snap Paqueta up, would you take Grealish coming the other way?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Yeah, No. Okay, well, I just think it's an interesting prospect if there's going to be like player trades that could solve a problem for us.
He'd have to. Grealish would have to go back to his Villa days to come and play for us. I know he's won whatever amount of trophies he's going to win by the last season and this season, but even for England, I just think he's lost his edge. I think he's been stifled by Guardiola.
So Craig's in the house. Thanks for joining us, Craig. Be interested what he thinks will happen on Saturday.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, Craig's a Luton fan, so.
Barry says he wouldn't mind seeing Kilman come in, and that he would take Grealish. So I think Grealish would be one of those that might be as many would as wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, but Grealish could walk through the door and have an impact like Lingard did, in fairness, you know. And he's capable of it. As much as I disliked his, what I would call it, cheating when he was going down very easy and stuff like that, he doesn't do that quite so much now. I think Pep Guardiola's kind of walked it out of him, but there is still a decent player in there. And I believe we would get the Aston Villa Grealish because he would have more of a free run of games. You know, he would have a decent run of games. He would find his form very quickly because that's what he does. And I think he would be an asset to the club. I really do.
Yeah,
but I'd rather have Foden.
Well, yes, we all would. But you'd have to have the Villa Grealish on. Yeah, I don't like the new Grealish, if you like.
Yeah, but you know he's playing under strict instruction from Pep, and if you play for Pep Guardiola, you play his way, and if you don't play his way, you don't get games, and that's been evident in players like Grealish not getting games, you know, and being paid. They paid 100 million for him, wasn't it? I think you're muted, Mick.
Oh yeah, so I was, yeah. There's a bit of noise in the background, so I'm trying not to get it into the show.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about 100 million and that. Another thing that was hugely disappointing, changing the subject slightly, was Moyes' comments about the reason they're leaking so many goals is because they don't have David Moyes. Well, I don't have David Moyes. I was like, come on. You're just not doing yourself any favours here.
Yeah, I mean, why choose the last week or two of your tenure to say something like that? Why not say that at the beginning of the season?
Well, because it wasn't happening, because Alvarez has been run into the ground. That's why.
Exactly that.
Yeah, you can't keep. That. There are a few athletic people that like Declan Rice in world football. Yeah, that constantly. You know, if you look for that Arsenal team, even people like Odegaard have been out for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of injuries. Saka even fell after 100 and odd games to injury for weeks on end. You know, he's just a machine, isn't he, Declan Rice? You know, but
he is.
And he's not having to play like he did for West Ham either. He's not. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard for Arsenal. He doesn't have to work as hard. He works smarter with Arsenal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. So overall, but I thought that was one of the lousiest comments I've ever heard from any manager in years. Yeah. Well, we haven't got the. You know, we've got no one to replace him. Well, you fucking bought the replacement. Yeah. You bought him, and then you flogged him to death like you have the rest of the team.
Yeah. And to be fair, I would say that a large percentage of the West Ham fans were quite happy with the replacement.
I love him.
Not the treatment of him, you know. I mean, like you said, he literally has been flogged to death. Mm-hmm. He's like one of them donkeys you find out in the middle of Morocco or something.
But he is, isn't he?
You know, with the hooves that are like grown upwards and they're touching them on the chest and that.
I mean,
but you know, he's done that with the whole of the squad though, because the squad is minuscule. You
but
know,
then he's bought Go on, sorry, Budgie.
No, I was going to say he's got that history as well of working with small squads and running them into the ground.
Well, I think that's another blessing for us not being in Europe next season. I think it gives Lopetegui time, and as well, another thing that pisses me off at West Ham, for many years, we just don't seem to be interested in trying to win the League Cup or the FA Cup. It's like we surrendered to Liverpool in that quarter final.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Surrendered. Yeah, it is sort of. I don't feel negative. I feel disappointed that it's ended in the way that it's ended for him as a person, because he is a person at the end of the day. I think people forget that. And I think I'm disappointed for the team as well that we finished the season the way that we're finishing it. So, the time for change is there. But as I say, he's
thing is, instead of being remembered for the glories of Prague, he's going to be remembered for the 5-0 embarrassment at Chelsea, the 5 goals at Crystal Palace, the 5 goals at Fulham. That's what the 6 goals against Arsenal. People that's what they're remembering now, isn't it?
Well, people never in life, you know that yourself. It's just in life in general, when you're doing a good job for someone and then something happens, and that's the thing they talk about, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I just feel that it just hasn't. That comment about Declan Rice, when I was like that, I went, "Oh, please, why are you saying this?"
Yeah, it was madness.
Yeah, just not doing himself any favors. I don't hate the man at all. I just think, maybe he's got tired, Jeff. Maybe he's just doing a Jurgen Klopp and just saying, I can't do any more. Maybe you might not see him back in football.
He says he loves football and he wants to stay, so he'll pop up somewhere.
Well, I read something today that he's talking about going to UEFA as a technical director of something or other. I don't know.
Wazim here saying he thinks that we need new fullbacks, a new centre-back pairing, another midfielder to partner Alvarez, a left winger and a striker as a minimum. You couldn't argue with that.
Well,
so that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's about right. We need 7 or 8.
Well, the fullbacks, again, we're throwing away a player in Johnson, letting him go for free. I think he's, again, if he had a run with a manager that appreciates him, I think he'd be a good fullback for us. I still think Agard is very capable of going into the left back position when needed. Obviously we got our wonderful Brazilian at left back anyway. But the midfield is, again, who partners Alvarez is right. We don't have a ball carrier in midfield. That's the other thing. Even though we've got Paqueta, we don't have a ball carrier. And I don't want to say his name again because I say it all the time, but someone like Ross Barkley playing in there, like picking that ball up and getting the ball forward. Sorry, go on. So I mute myself there, mate.
No, I agree. I think Ross Barkley would work well with somebody like Alvarez. Not that I would particularly want him at West Ham, but somebody of that ilk, definitely. I think what Alvarez lacks, Ross Barkley has got in abundance, and vice versa. That would be quite a decent pairing. I reckon you're right. Yeah, that would be a decent pairing.
And if Luton do go down, well, there's talks of Leicester are talking to him already if they go down. But, I just feel that ball carrier, Paqueta's, he is a ball carrier, but in a different way. I just think he's the sort of player that would set Paqueta off into them higher positions, set Bowen off in them higher positions.
Yeah.
Someone of that ilk, as you say. I'm not saying
Paqueta's like a box of frogs, though, isn't he? 1 minute there's absolutely magic in there, and then another times it's a complete mess.
Again,
he's not consistent with his.
You watch him play for Brazil against England. He was all over England, playing central midfield, playing in behind good strikers.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about where you play these players. He's been an auxiliary left back half the time in front of Emerson. You know, because he has to play so deep.
Mm.
You know, so yeah, I don't know. We could talk about
to Conor Gallagher. What would you think about Conor Gallagher in there?
I think he's a bang average Premier League player. Is he any better than Ward-Prowse? No, I don't think he is.
Probably a bit more athletic, a bit quicker.
I still don't think he's any better of a player. I don't think he'd have a bigger influence on the team than what Prowse does. You know, you're talking small margins. You're not bringing someone in for small margins. You're bringing them in to make a difference. So I don't think he'd make that
big
much
money,
difference.
I guess.
Yeah, probably 70, 80 million. You want to spend that money, see if you can get Cole Palmer out of there. That'd be more like it. Yeah, there's another one. Freddie Potts.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
What? Freddie Potts?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I don't know which club he went to, but I was reading this week he was their player of the year.
Wickham he went to.
Oh, sorry, he's done amazing at Wickham, so I didn't read that all. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barry. Yeah. I mean, he's been their player of the year, hasn't he?
Yeah, isn't
standard.
Here's a name to throw into the pot. We already own him. He's only out on loan. And that's Flynn Downs. Uh-huh. I think he would be perfect next to Alvarez. Perfect.
And you've got that Chesters as well. He's a good lad, isn't he? I've seen him play, I think, twice. I was impressed by him. Yeah, there's a lot, and we could sit here and speculate. You don't know. This guy that's coming in could have 4 names he's already given to the board. I'll take them when we go and get them. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why David Moyes actually put Flynn Downs out on loan, because there's been games this season we really could have used him, you know, especially when Alvarez was out. You know, he would have been a reasonable stand-in for Alvarez on the day, I think.
Yeah, but even beside him sometimes, you know what I mean, instead of Souček.
Just saying about Flynn Downs, I think it was probably a bit of a sweetener on the JWP deal. So we got JWP, they got to sign Flynn Downs on loan. So I don't know that. That's just kind of
makes sense. To be fair, makes sense. Like just what Barry's just saying, Paquette is an attacking midfielder. Exactly, no good when dropping it as a second left back. You know, I don't know. I mean,
the thing is though, with Paquette, he's got such a wide passing range of ability that, you know, he can make a pass, like a critical pass, from anywhere on the pitch. To be fair, he can do it.
Who's this?
Paquette.
No, yeah.
It's not often that he's like. It's not often that he's off target with a decent, you know, with one of these passes. I mean, he gets the ball taken off of him a lot, yes, and some of his stuff gets intercepted, yes, when he's trying to play the delicate little through balls and stuff. But when he's pinging balls about and he's sliding them down, like the one in the final for Jared Bowen, them kinds of passes, we've not had anybody like that in years, you know, and he's actually very good at doing stuff like that, but he's just inconsistent, you know, and that worries me with a player of that caliber, is the inconsistency. And also he's got this legal wrangling going on behind closed doors. You know, I think we're going to be stuck with him for at least, I say stuck with him, I think we're going to be having him West Ham for at least another season.
I agree with that as well, on the basis of what you're just saying, because he hasn't been cleared, but he's not been charged either. So who knows? And again, Barry with his Flynn Downs is a good squad player. I think he's better than a squad player personally.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think JWP will play better under a new manager.
I do too. And, Lopetegui, he kind of plays the formations that JWP's more used to playing at Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
They play a 4-3-3 quite a lot and always have done throughout their history. Well, in the last sort of 30 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, he would be used to playing that kind of system. So he'll be more comfortable in that system if he's used to playing in it. And I think you'll find a different JWP under that kind of system. Oh, bless you, mate. I'll take it. I don't want to kick it over. Thank you. So I believe that JWP would thrive under a new manager with that kind of system. Oh, good evening, Happy.
Who's
Good
Happy?
evening.
Oh, Happy, I'm right.
Yes, there she is.
Hi, Happy.
The laughing gnome. I'm getting bollocked for that, and I am. So, there you go. Look, there you go. Oh, Saints absolutely love him. I thought it was Happy saying she did. Might not want to come back. There is that too. There is also that, But, he is a West Ham fan, self-claimed West Ham fan. I think if you got an opportunity to come to the club you support and stay, all right, he's done a bit of a loan spell thing and that, but he's still young. He's still less than 22, isn't he? Jeff, what sort of age would you put Flynn Downs at? 21, 22, 20? He's young.
He's about 25, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Jeff's looking it up on Goggle.
Oh, is he? I just better look at myself.
Yeah, I think Jeff's looking it up. Got change glasses and everything.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't Sky Sports, by the way, people.
Mm-hmm.
What you got there in the way?
Yeah, to ask your back
you're right. He's 25, Mick. You're right. He's 25.
You should have known that in the first place, son.
But then I'm old and I can't even remember my own bloody name half the time, let alone other people's ages. But he's still relatively young, but he's a West Ham fan, and he can now fight for his position, knowing that a new manager. There you go. Look, I'm in trouble. I told you. A new manager is going to give him an opportunity to try and prove himself, give him a chance to fight for a place in the squad, in the starting lineup. Young players. But even though he isn't that young, he's still relatively inexperienced in the Premier League. But as you say, or as Happy said, the Saints absolutely love him. And he, the fan base, the management, the board, they all really like him, the players, and he fits in really well there. But there's no reason why he did fit in at West Ham.
He did, yeah.
He was there on the final day in Prague and that, celebrating just, like the next man. So, and he played a few games in that campaign as well. Let's not forget, so, I think given the opportunity, I don't think he will turn down coming back to West Ham. That's my personal opinion. But,
that'll all depend on the new manager. But yeah, I agree with you. Personally, I would think he would come back. But I still think sitting here that come mid-August we'll be having a different conversation about maybe 3-4 players that we may not have even heard of that he's brought in, because as you said,
why not? Providing they prove what they can do.
Well,
right.
I think that'll be the case. I think
who actually ever heard of Manuel Lanzini before he arrived here on loan?
Not me.
Not me. I don't think any of us did. I'm gonna mute myself for a second.
You on mute, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I'm off mute now.
Yeah.
Just laughing at Happy here. I'll see what his guess is. So, and Happy saying he liked that Downs was at the Freiburg, mate. He was at the Leverkusen match, wasn't he? Downs.
Don't know.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what to think of Lopetegui. But I'm waiting to see what he does. I'm not anti-Lopetegui. If he's the man, then he's going to be the man. We'll see what he does. We'll see who he recruits. Might be a golden opportunity for him. Build a team quickly around what his vision is.
Yeah. I just don't want people to have too much of an expectation of someone because, people are too quick to judge. I think he's going into a very, very difficult job. Hugely.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's going into a bigger job as what Moisey went into when he took over from Pellegrini originally. You know, when he went come for the first spell. The first. No, what did he? He came back the second spell after him, didn't he? Sorry, when he came in for the first. When he came in for his first spell, I think West Ham were just in many ways in that kind of position now where the team could collapse. So it's important that he brings in the right people, steadies the ship, gets us off to a reasonable start to the season. So not under pressure in the bottom 3 and 4. We're in mid-table looking up rather than down after 10 games. Yeah, first 10 games will be critical. You know, if he's in the bottom 3 after 10 games, he'll start getting a slaughtering, which
pressure will be building.
Doesn't help.
No, not at all. Not at all. I was getting his Chinese. Hope you enjoy it, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, be interesting next year. Wonder if the season ticket sales are going to drop off like people threaten, or if they're just going to buy them anyway.
Look, there's 1,000 names on that petition. You know what I mean? Look, if you had Pep Guardiola going there, someone would be on here saying, well, he only wins things when he's spending money or something ridiculous like that. Do you know what I mean? Whoever comes in now needs to be given some time, some understanding of what the job is. I think everyone looks at it and, I don't mean this in a rude way. I think there's a lot of people look at it and think, you just can't buy in, do that. It doesn't work like that. We all know that. Yeah. There's no guarantee. Look at Man United. Look at the massive managers Man United have had since Sir Alex Ferguson left them. What a fucking shambles they are.
And none bigger than David Moyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a chosen one.
And he was the first of the failures, so
he was, yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, we haven't got that kind of pressure on us that Man United had, if you know what I mean.
Well, we didn't have Alex Ferguson as our manager, no.
Yeah, but then we also haven't got multiple titles to worry about either.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to achieve, and we are aspiring to achieve titles. Of course we are as a club. We must be. Otherwise, why are we here? What are we doing? Mm-hmm. But we've won our first title in many years last season. We won't achieve that again this season coming because we're not in Europe. So I think we should perhaps concentrate on domestic trophies as well as the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Lopetegui is a manager that is very aware and has some affection for the history and the prestige of the FA Cup, because many of the foreign managers do. Mm-hmm. There's very few of them that ignore it. the FA Cup in particular. So I think, once Lopetegui arrives at West Ham and certain people tell him about how much the FA Cup means to this club and the wins that we have had, yes, exactly that, Happy. FA Cup incoming, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
What are you laughing at? I can hear him over there. Oh, by the way, just in case you didn't know, people in the group, in the chat, I am actually live in the Boleyn Lounge. Look, I'll even show you. He's there somewhere. Oh, where it? I can't get the screen round enough. Not enough wires. But yes, I'm live in the lounge. I can't have the TV screen on. There we go. Yeah. So I think, what we've got to do is we have got to be a bit more patient with whoever it is. I mean, it looks like it's going to be Lopetegui, but we've got to be patient as a fan base. We've got to be a bit patient with them. We might not be 100% in favour of the appointment. I'm not, certainly. He's not, as I said, he's not my first choice, not my last either, but certainly not my first choice. But I am relieved that it's not Graham Potter. I am so relieved. I think he would have been very, very dangerous to be at our club right now. I think we would be cannon fodder for the rest of the league. I don't rate him as a manager. I think he achieved at Brighton. He overachieved at Brighton. But that was because of the system they have. This algorithm thing they talk about.
Yes, Budgie.
Yeah. I mean, I think Graham Potter is overrated. I'm glad it isn't him. He would have been my last choice. Lopetegui is probably 2 or 3 up above him on the list of people that we could have been linked with.
Yeah, that's the problem, who you are linked with and who's real, to be honest, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this Amorim, he was a realistic prospect. Certainly was a realistic prospect. He isn't, of the ilk of your Zinedine Zidanes and your Artetas of the world and the Klopps and the Guardiolas, but he runs quite a close race to him. You know what I mean? He's up there, and he was willing to talk to the club, so he's a realistic target.
He had to apologise to Porto this morning, didn't he, for talking to West Ham, to the fans, because he's staying on. He won the Portuguese league, didn't he? But again, he was a £15 million release clause, so, and he probably wanted an arm and a leg to be the manager as well. So there's a lot of things.
So once that £15 million was discussed, and David Sullivan's ring piece has gone tighter than a 5p piece, then they obviously said, he's not right for the job. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be, I'm not paying that out. He wouldn't want us to know that, But we do know that. We know that of him. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm not totally sold on this Lopetegui, but I'm not, dead against it either. I think we got to give him a chance, give him a shot, see what he can do with us. Yeah. I mean, if I reach my arm out, Happy, and Jeff reaches his left arm out, we can more or less touch fingers. We're that close. Told you I was coming down here this week, didn't I? I'm probably in trouble for that as well now.
Yeah, read up his thing out, Budgie, while you're there.
Okay. Right, the appointment was underwhelming, to say the least. Exactly, that's probably true, which makes it easier not to expect too much. And then I'll be pleasantly surprised, she says. Well, let's hope we are happy. I mean, that's what I was going to say. I like the next one. The beautiful Amorim carrot being dangled all week has made this signing seem all the less satisfying. But let's be honest, was we actually in with a shout for Amorim? Seems unlikely. I think he was a realistic target, I've got to be honest. But then he was only a realistic target if David Sullivan was prepared to open his wallet. And we know that he's rarely, willing to do so. So, the chances of that.
Also on that subject, he was on Liverpool's list, and he had an interview with them, didn't he? And that didn't.
Yeah, but it was kind of established pretty quick that Arnie Slot was going to go to Liverpool.
Well, he had the interview before Slot, didn't he? But
Yeah.
look, I wouldn't say I'm underwhelmed by it. I've looked at his history. He's been at Barcelona, not in the first team, but he was there scouting, as you mentioned earlier on. He had the under-21s, under-18s. He was at Real Madrid under-21s, Real Madrid's first team manager, Spanish first team manager, Seville's first team manager. So, I mean, when you say you're underwhelmed, I'm not really sure who else West Ham are going to get with that kind of caliber, to be fair. So, he's got a good footballing background, especially for a goalkeeper as well, strangely enough.
Yeah, and he's won a Europa League.
Yeah, he didn't play many football games, He only played 170 as a professional because he was second choice at Real Madrid and places like that. So, so he's probably done a lot of learning for his coaching. Who are you going to have? We don't have any.
There are some managers that have never actually kicked a ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's... Yeah,
and they become good managers because they see the game from the sidelines all the time. They don't.
Jose Mourinho, as an example.
Exactly that, and he was one of the best managers in the world in his day.
He was.
And like you look at people like I know people are probably going to go, oh God, not. But that Will Still, he hasn't really kicked a ball in his life. He's never been into football management or anything. He won a bloody computer game competition and then ended up coaching Lille. Is it? I think it's Lille. Somewhere like that. Yeah. Rennes. That's it, Rennes. And he ends up coaching them and managing them without badges. So every time he's filled, he takes the field with the team. The club getting fines.
$2.5 grand a game.
$2.5 grand a game.
And apparently,
but then he's on about 15 grand a week anyway. So
not anymore.
No,
they parted ways.
Parted ways because he hasn't done his coaching badges. He didn't do it. He didn't pass his coaching badges again, has he? He's still unqualified.
He'll do them in this closed season.
Well, he's supposed to do it last year.
He'll come back to someone like, I don't know, Millwall or someone like that. No, well, probably not Millwall because he's a West Ham fan, but
a big club like Millwall.
But he'll come back to like a League One or a Championship side. He'll come over to England and coach a lower league side, get his feet under the table, and then he'll be knocking on big boys' doors. I'm telling you, I think he'll be fantastic in this country.
Right, Jeffrey. I've got another early morning, mate. I'm up at 5, so I'm going to call it a night, if I may.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Yeah, you ain't got your mic on.
We'll
there you go.
We'll start wrapping it up because we've got an echo where we're in the same room as well, so it's not so easy to broadcast. So
I'm up at 5, so yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for joining us, mate.
It's been a pleasure as always. Yeah.
And
take care, buddy. Yeah.
See you soon, Mick. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, happy Hammerette. Where's me?
All right, mate.
Yeah. I'm just.
So I'm going to wrap it up because, like I say, we're in the same room here and we get a bit of an echo off the mics and a bit of feedback. So it's a bit awkward. So thanks for everyone joining us, and we'll be back next week in our respective homes. We won't have the feedback, and hopefully we'll bring you a bit of a longer, more in-depth show. So thanks for joining, guys. Good night. See you soon.
1-0 to the Coffee Boys, 1-0.